a song that everybody likes. Let's get started.
Yeah,
We'll get
no
the
doubt.
cameras in the back just a moment.
Oh my gosh, you officially
Yes, let me know when you guys are good.
What are we talking about?
karaoke? You and him are discussing karaoke. You missed that?
I'm trying to, where was that at when I said that?
Kay was on the show last night. Yeah.
Crowd participation.
Yes, crowd participation.
All right, cameras good in the back. Coach, whenever you're ready.
Okay, I think, I think we kind of officially are turning the page here relative to training camp. Although school starts Wednesday, we'll just have a few different points of emphasis for Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. But it's been a great camp. Sometimes scrimmages are challenging relative to you're evaluating the offense and the defense or all 6 phases of the kicking game. And are you having success because of your execution, or are you having success because the other unit maybe is not doing what they're supposed to do, right? But I do think we took a step forward in terms of the quality of the football. Was much more competitive. I do think that we continue to need to develop more players that can play winning football, that can sustain the entirety of a scrimmage, more consistency. Still quite a few young players who are getting better, but are they ready for what we all understand and know is coming? I do think the closer that we get to the game, the more the attention to detail has to improve, right? The level of focus and urgency that we bring to every meeting, every walkthrough, every practice rep, knowing that we are going to compete against the very best in the entire country and the margin of error is small. So, I do think as school starts, we take on more challenges, more distractions. I think there is a self-discipline aspect to our team that will be really, really important. And overall, it is highly competitive on our team. The 2 deep, rotational players, what percentage of the snaps at your position are you going to play? Are you 1-to-1, 2-to-1, 3-to-1? Will you play at all? Are you a situational player? So every day between now and when we kick off this opener, I think we'll be evaluating performance. But obviously you guys have been informed. I know it's out that Cam Carroll had a season-ending knee injury. And, man, I'm going to tell you, I think one of the more challenging things as a coach, and I would tell you for our team, is injuries. Just kind of hits you right in the gut. But, Cam will respond. He will get the full support of our team and our organization, and he'll be back. And I'm looking forward to that when it does happen. So what else we got here question-wise?
Yeah, Billy, Camp, how would you assess just in terms of getting out of it healthy? I mean, Cam's injury, Justice Boone's obviously a big blow. Some other
2
guys.
injuries, one on each side of the ball. Outside of that, I would say it's your typical training camp relative to player participation, the things that you normally deal with.
Billy, how close would you say you are to being game ready? I know you got a couple weeks to go, but do you feel like you're getting really close to it?
I think it's an individual player question. I think that's probably the way I would assess it more than the team. I think the individuals make up the team, the collective effort of each individual. I think there's a lot of players on our team that are veteran, that are experienced, and understand what will be expected of them and what it's going to be like. But we have a huge group of players that haven't played a ton of football, so I think we need to refine our game. I think as we get our legs back underneath us, as we narrow the installation, and that's kind of what I'm describing when I say attention to detail. I think overall we've made significant progress, but I think, it's all about game planning and knowing the plan and then going and executing the plan.
What's the
Back to that, I'm sorry, because I wanted to follow up on, because that's two guys, but we've seen lots of guys in non-con. Shamar, we know. I mean, Jack's not been doing anything.
And just
Kingsley
like-
seems laid up.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've always had guys that are modified or maybe aren't able to participate. I mean, how is this different than any other training camp in the history of football?
Well, I'm not even saying that. I'm just asking from your assessment. I mean, are there some key guys even banged up maybe? I mean, you're heading into week 1 soon.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think we feel positive and we feel good about player availability relative to when we turn the page. Some of those guys you mentioned, we anticipate getting back soon.
How do you balance the thought of getting everybody healthy to game 1 versus getting everybody ready to tackle and breakthrough tackles and that kind of stuff? Do you ever think about, I mean, like the NFL guys are not even playing in the preseason, they don't hit in camp. Do you ever think about?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think college football is very much this is where we develop players. You know, I mean, I think this is a different level of football relative to the National Football League. Now, look, I mean, we all understand each team's a little bit different. You know, we tackle 2 times a year, you know, in training camp. We tackle 3 times during spring practice. You know, and football is a physical game. Injuries come with the game, you know, but there's a greater good concept. And look, I mean, we're doing nothing different than we've done in years past at all the great places that we've worked. You know, the place we were at prior to here. So this comes with the territory. Some years you have a fantastic year. You come out of there scot-free, you know, but very rarely, right? So I don't see this one much different than many years from the past.
You mentioned last week the need to develop depth at tackle, offensive tackle. Just how much clarity have you maybe been able to have in the last week with Lindell back, and just kind of where's that at?
Lindell's going to help us. There's no question. He's been impressive, in my opinion. To think about when he arrived, he's been able to pick it up. I do think the guy's played. I mean, I think I was looking at the numbers the other day. He's played like 1,300 plays, maybe more than that. So this is you know, the guy's played a lot of football. He has traits. He's got height, length. He's got a 36 arm, which is really unique. He's done a nice job in pass protection. And I think he's developed some confidence as a result of his participation in practice. So we're very pleased with his progress. And he's still, you know, we got to get him ready to go as he gets more reps.
Were there any players that, I mean, specifically took a leap in your mind in the last few weeks, or anyone that maybe you didn't know you were going to be able to count on that you could? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I think I go back to my statement there. It is extremely competitive right now in most rooms relative to how we're going to play the players in the game. You know, we've got a group of established players, but we got a lot of players that are, you know, they're right in the middle of heated competition, you know, and I think, yeah, we're just going to let that competition take its place, you know, if that makes sense, you know. But I do think we've made a ton of progress. A lot of these young players have made significant progress. Cameron James in particular, Jakeem Jackson, Jordan Castell. I think Manny Nunnery's had a really good camp. I think Jaden Robinson's had a good camp. Caleb Banks, you know, is impressive at times. TJ Searcy, you know. Who else? It's a young player that maybe hasn't played a ton. You know, I think Lindell is a guy who's done really well. We all know about Najee because he had a good experience in the spring. Tony Livingston, Hayden Hanson, both really have accelerated their growth. Trayon Webb. Who else? Those are a few off the top of my head. I hope that helps you.
And Jack's situation, we're hearing a weakness in the shoulder. How much of a concern is that
He's
kind of going
got
forward?
tendonitis in his cuff, so we just slowed him down a little bit. We'll get him back here shortly.
Ricky, Reversal, how's he responded to, I mean, he's healthy for one this camp,
Yeah.
and, I mean, he looks like $1 million. The guy's leaned down and
Yeah.
looks quicker. What are you seeing from him?
Yeah, no, he's primed for a great year. I think he's definitely, he made some big plays in the scrimmage, made one big explosive play early in the scrimmage. Yeah, got a ton of confidence in Ricky, definitely build around him. And he's a guy who sets a really good example for some of the young players in that room. But Ricky, I think, is a very underrated player. Bigger than you think, faster, more explosive than you think, and he's highly skilled. The guy can get open, and he makes plays on the ball.
Time for a few more guys.
Billy, Tyreek has spent like the past 2 years trying to bulk up and get bigger, and then all of a sudden, middle of camp, he's got to move to edge. What's that transition been like for him, and how do you feel like he's done there?
I think the things we'll ask him to do, he's doing a little bit at the other position. And primarily, he's played situationally there in the past. So, Sap's up for the challenge. That's what I would tell you. I mean, but I do think there's an inventory of things that we're going to ask him to do that I think he's very capable of doing. But no one has a better attitude or brings energy and focus and the right approach to the building every day than that guy.
How much discipline's required to get creative at that F position with guys like Banks maybe moving over a little bit, and Sapp, Pyburn, just how much you have to kind of mix things up?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's all about groupings that you play in, right, and groupings you play against. We're going to be okay there. I think we've got – I'm really excited about the young group of edge players. I'd like to know if there's a better group of young edge players in the country. You think about Kelby, Cameron, TJ, Jack's a young player. I think that room there, we're just going to have to live with the growing pains, if that makes sense. But I do think those guys are excited about the opportunity and kind of they're in that group that I'm describing here, right, in terms of the attention to detail. As we get closer to the game, there's a level of urgency and focus that's required that, I think some of our team understands that, but I think there'll be some things that come as these guys gain more experience. I think they'll get better and better as we go.
Guys, Billy, but how would you, looking at your two deep, are you confident that you've got an SEC level two deep?
Yeah, I think, look, we had a two deep group of players last year. We lost a lot of close games. So I do think we have more depth. I do think that some positions in our team maybe we don't. But I do think that we're just young. And I think that two deep is made up of rookies or portal players. But I think that we got a very capable group. I think there's some height, length, speed that's maybe there that wasn't there before.
Hey guys, we're going to finish with Zach Goodell and Nate Bellator.
What stood out to you about Micah Leone when you guys brought him in as a graduate transfer earlier in the year, and how have you seen him, take advantage of opportunities throughout camp?
Well, first of all, the guy's an experienced player. He's played some football in the past. Mike is a guy that, has wanted to go to graduate school at the University of Florida, had aspirations considering coaching to some degree. So a guy that brought a lot to that room, and I think we're always looking for guys like him. Now, Micah has proved to be very effective. He's smart. He's a student of the game. Guy throws a really good ball. And, man, these scrimmages, he just is, moves the ball right down the field every time. So Micah's done a really nice job. We've given him some reps, and he's made the most of those reps.
Is it safe to say that he's in a position to potentially take on a significant role as a backup to Graham?
I would say that we're giving him reps for a reason, and we'll see where that goes.
You mentioned a competition on the two deep. Does that extend into special teams, specifically kicker with Trey and Adam?
Yeah, I probably should have said this earlier, but we were really pleased with the specialist play in the scrimmage. And I would say, as a whole, that group is talented, and I think they're in a groove there. Right now, I think Trey would kick off, and Adam would be the place kicker. Obviously, Jeremy's back and Rocco's back. Gannon's done a nice job, as the second snapper as well. So, that group is really, and Watkins had a couple great punts in the deal. So that room is too deep. It's solid as a rock. We're really confident in our group of specialists.
We hear a lot, that's take care of your people. And I think we've seen this offseason that you've done that. You've had now 5 staff promotions. You did Bree and Russ in the spring, then Jordan, and then most recently you did Nick and Joe. Just how important is that to you that you take care of your people and give folks on your staff opportunities to move up in industry?
Yeah, one of the things we've learned how to do is hire really good people. We work hard at it. We have people that are researching it year round. You get to this level of leadership, you're only as good as the people you surround yourself with. And then when you have good ones, it's important that you retain them, right? The makeup of your organization is no different than the makeup of your roster, right? So I think it's important that we have a good, healthy mix of veteran, experienced people, and then we have some bright, young, up-and-comers. And when given an opportunity, people earn more responsibility. I think that's one of the keys, right, is, whatever you're in charge of, taking that and making the most of it and being really good at it. And then, hey, look, if you do that, more responsibility comes your way, right? So we've been very blessed to hire some really bright young people that are very capable. And, I think it speaks to the organization when other people try to hire our people, right? So I think we're doing something right.
All right, thank you, Coach.